drug.
No, but if they haven't been able to. Let's say they've tried for 10 years and
I am
haven't been able to.
100% confident people can lose weight without the drug.
Last month, I flew to Los Angeles and was invited to a debate of pro or against Ozempic. The channel that hosted the event is called Jubilee. I haven't seen the episode yet, but we're gonna watch it together for the first time, and I hope to say some of the things that I was not willing to say in that setting.
But if they haven't been able to. Let's say they've tried for 10 years and
I am
haven't been able to.
100% confident people can lose weight without the drug.
Using Ozempic for weight loss is vanity, not medicine.
Okay, so let's start by that introduction. I don't know if you can see the look on my face, but my husband has often told me that I should just not play cards because I express what's in my hand too much for it to be kept, especially to him, a secret. But I didn't believe him until I'm watching the footage here. And again, I stepped into the situation and instantly realized, oh, I want to talk about this at a much higher scientific level than most of the folks are discussing this. So the question that she puts right there is, using Ozempic for weight loss is vanity. Well, again, there's a spectrum to that. When using anything for a vanity purpose, you should have no risks associated with it. And although Ozempic is incredibly safe, that's not what we do in medicine. That's not what should be happening in medicine. I didn't even get anywhere close to being able to talk about that.
Can the Greer step forward?
I have been obese. When I was a kid, my nickname was Fatso. I was the only third grader that was 100 pounds at that time in the 70s.
I love this couple. It's a mother and a daughter who've both really struggled with obesity. And it sounds to me like they've had high insulin producing genetics from a really young age. And God bless them, they both have lost over 100 pounds in their life. The daughter was 300 pounds by 16 years old. And her weight loss journey was remarkable, but also an extreme example of obesity really young in life.
I'm a nutritionist, and for 23 years, I've worked with over 5,000 clients worldwide. I've been one of the first early adapters of approving GLP-1 for health desired outcomes.
So again, this gentleman, Dustin, very good, had some wisdom behind what he was doing. He isn't the person who prescribes it. He works with people who are using it. So I think there is a different perspective. The only person in the group who actually prescribes the medication along with me was the guy in the white shirt. Unfortunately, I did not understand his profile until almost the end of the debate.
How'd you lose the weight?
Whole Foods, exercise.
How long did it take?
About 2 years.
2 years to lose 150 pounds. This woman is remarkable, a very impressive story. But in her mind, now everybody needs to do it like she did it.
So you've got this journey of a teenage brain that's suffering under the obesity, under a high insulin state, muting the development of a 16-year-old brain. We'll say that a majority of that brain is developed by that age. And you developed that in a setting of over 100 extra pounds, at least, of fat mass. But I look at a family history where death hits at 60, mom suffered, and daughter, despite good parenting, has a mass that is, has to be in one of the top obesity profiles. And you say, how much of your life did you sacrifice in those 16 and 17 years old that it took to lose that weight?
So yeah, here's what I'm worried about in that moment. This young lady reversed her weight loss, and she did it in the years her brain was developing. Adding Ozempic or any type of augmenter of a hormone will hijack her endocrine system. And I attempted to get there, but I got cut off, and then nobody followed up, nobody cared. The point is, this young lady did the best she could at 16 years old and had an awesome outcome. And because of that, her brain is rewired in a healthy way. But because she didn't use the hormone, she doesn't need that hormone, that excess hormone, for the rest of her life.
Drug companies are exploiting body insecurities to boost profits. Can the agreeer step forward?
I wish I could have written these questions. What a terrible question. There's
absolute evidence that obesity causes brains to change, hearts to change, and increase in an endocrine dysfunction. Using these medications in a way that, this is a powerful tool. It is a super powerful tool that the weight loss, even a natural weight loss, there was a percentage of that was fat loss, a percentage of that that's bone loss and muscle loss. You add these medications to it in a young patient like that, and getting her to restore that muscle mass or bone mass after it's been lost is, it's criminal. It's criminal how many of these young women losing 15, 20 pounds on a really intense drug did it because of something that I, as their physician, I'm going to have a heck of a time restoring that bone density in a 24-year-old that now has osteoporosis.
Well, I would actually disagree with that a little bit because I've looked at some of the data on these medications and bone mineral density, and if anything, there's actually increases in bone mineral density in certain areas.
The young women,
because of the drug itself?
Yes, and only a decrease in certain weight-bearing areas because they're carrying less weight at that point. That is normal. Actually, people with obesity have greater bone mineral density.
Right.
Those with lower.
I'm talking about these lose 15 pounds.
Right, and we've already agreed on that. I don't think using
that's the part where the bone loss is shocking.
Yeah, he's starting out with obese patients having higher bone density, not starting out with a woman who needs to lose 20 pounds and uses this hormone to get the weight off.
Ozempic is saving lives by combating the obesity epidemic. Can they agree a step forward?
I definitely agree. I mean, again, being 250 pounds at 27, I definitely was headed downhill for sure. I was very shocked to find out I was pre-diabetic, and the only reason I even went to the doctor in the first place was because I wanted to get on the medication to help me lose weight. So I look at this medication definitely as saving my life for sure.
And I'd agree. I mean, I got on Ozempic like a year and a half ago, but I was not too morbidly obese. I was about 189, but my BMI obviously was high. Before I was ever able to start Ozempic, obviously I had to get my blood work done, make sure that I was healthy enough to be on it, and I had no underlying issues.
So yeah, they did a good job of picking these panel people for the Pro-Ozempic. Again, 2 patients that have been on it, both of them actually were on tirzepatide, not semaglutide. One that had insurance that covered it, one that has had to take samples or pay cash for it and is on a pretty young person's income. But the ladies' stories of what they did and how this drug really helped rescue them from a life of mental health problems and physical problems that might not have manifested yet, they did a really good job of representing that.
I just got back from Japan last week, and it's completely different there. You go into a convenience store and you have ready-made meals with vegetables in the fridge, and healthy food is cheap there. And if you take people from, say, Japan, where the obesity rate based on our criteria is like 5% compared to 40% here, and you bring them over to here and look at the migration studies, obesity rates skyrocket, and it's proportional to how long they live here. We are seeing for the first time, after basically year after year increases in obesity rates in the US, that they've finally declined over the last couple of years. And largely driven by areas where these medications are in the greatest use.
Okay, so what you need to remember about this guy, he is from Canada, and he has his healthcare system provided. I think he sees patients outside of that. Again, it took me the whole debate to realize, yes, he is a Canadian provider that writes the prescription. That part I got figured out really early, but he's a vegetarian. And I wish I would have known that during the debate. They don't tell you, they don't introduce, they give you first names, they give you no credentials. And there could have been a really lively debate if I would have known which perspective he was coming from. I mean, the first hint I had was he went to Japan and there's a bunch of vegetables, but I'm not going to conclude vegetarian from that.
If you have a BMI of 45, okay, you live the same amount of years as a pack-a-day smoker. So you're taking 10 years off your life by being a BMI over 45. Okay, this is so hard for me. It's so hard for me to watch myself struggling because, I mean, this whole recording took 3 hours, and all I feel like I did the whole time was bite my tongue, bite my tongue, bite my tongue. You are not going to win anybody over showing them the pathophysiology of why Ozempic should be used, in which patients it should be used, and how you could get off of it. So you see me like literally biting my tongue during this, and shut up, shut up, shut up. That's all that's going through my mind. Don't embarrass yourself and don't say something that's going to go viral.
Telling people, I feel like you're setting them up for victimhood when you're like, you can't do anything because the food's sweeter, so now you need this. And it's like, how are we setting them up? Like,
we count
the human body was designed to heal itself.
No, hold on. First line treatment across every medical guideline out there.
Yes, oh my God. I just want to duct tape on everybody saying, let me speak.
People who are taking the GLP-1s took the easy way out, absolutely. It's okay, as long as it's not the only way. The beginning step for patients suffering from years of obesity, step 1, it's the easy way out. Doesn't mean it's the last thing we're going to do.
That was a good point. What she tries then to say you should never use it. And I don't think that's true. I really think that you were hijacked, many patients were hijacked with a major processed food, high carbohydrate, inflammatory menu. And to get you the success going backwards, yes, these hormones work, but there's a whole list of skill sets that we need to help you acquire. And the drug will help you get that noise in their brain less and the weight off for step one. And then Penelope does this.
We're going to do.
You know, you weren't born morbidly obese. You know, I used to think I had that fat gene. You were talking about genetics earlier. I thought I was born fat.
Oh, you do have the fat gene.
She does have the fat gene. That's real.
I wasn't born 400 pounds.
No, you were born 8.5 pounds.
I wasn't even born 200 pounds. Can we all agree that babies aren't born 400 pounds?
I hated this argument. She said it like 20 times. Can we all agree that babies aren't born 200 pounds or 400 pounds, whatever she says? I think she says 200 pounds. Over and over. I'm like, stop beginning the argument with that. You're supposed to be on my side, which is the, anti-Ozempic for everything. And her arguments were like, oh, stop, don't do that. Don't begin there.
No,
Yeah.
you're born with a predisposition to developing that later in life.
Yeah, and our family is a symbol of it, absolutely.
And it doesn't mean that I need weight loss drugs. And it doesn't mean that anyone needs weight loss drugs to lose weight, because people can lose weight naturally. And that's the truth.
Yeah, so this is her experience is now going to extrapolate to everybody. And that's where she just loses it. She loses the audience. I'm like, shh, just do it for you, but it doesn't have to be for everybody. She wants to win the argument. And I can remember being like that in my younger years, but yeah.
Well, I have a very addictive personality, so with food, it's the same thing. It's like very addictive, like to anything. It's really hard for me to fix though, because it's like in aspects of alcohol, I've had a problem. Aspects of food, I've had a problem. Right. I've caught those problems, but yes, it's the easy way out for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I don't like that reasoning either. People, addictive personality just means you've been practicing a habit that you now have an identity from. So you need to practice a different habit to get away from that identity. As she compares her food addiction to an alcohol addiction. So in my mind, they are a very similar pathway that got away from her, that they overuse a coping skill and now you need to undo it. The alcoholic needs to stop drinking. You can't tell the person who's eating to stop eating, but you can get them to stop eating the processed foods, the excessive amount of carbohydrates. Pushing that brain into a ketogenic state absolutely improves the alcoholic and the food addict. As she's talking about this alcoholism, she clearly says, yeah, the alcoholic wants for that alcohol like I want for that processed food, as if it's almost default. And of course, there is a hijacked part of addiction, but to say, take the alcohol away from the alcoholic and they're not cured. They have a whole bunch of skill sets left. The same thing goes for take the processed food away from the food addict. They're not cured. They have a whole bunch of coping skills they need to learn yet. And it's like she missed that part. It's just, just take the alcohol away from the alcoholic. They're fine. You can't take food away from me. It's food. Just take the drug is what her answer is. No, that's not exactly the same.
All right, show of hands. Who thinks obesity is a chronic health condition?
Chronic health condition.
Okay. Who thinks blood pressure is a chronic health condition? Okay, so is taking blood pressure pills cheating?
I think it's I think you can do without medicine eventually.
Some are genetic though. Some have genetic high blood pressure.
Yeah, I have genetic high blood pressure. I eat super clean. I do everything right. It's what I do for a living. I do bodybuilding. I do everything. Doesn't matter. I have genetically high blood pressure.
Yeah, so he also made that assumption like, chronic health decision is blood pressure. You must use meds. And of course, I know that you can get people off of their blood pressure medicine and have health restored. I do it every week, but he wants to say, no, once they have blood pressure problems, they're always on blood pressure meds. And there are people who have had it so long and so much that they do have that track. But that's not everybody. He's being just as naive as Penelope is.
I think Penelope had the advantage of also being 15, 16 years old. That endocrine problem, which was an excessive amount of insulin, probably from a genetic cause as well, had not hijacked her brain for the 10 years that you guys had to suffer beyond what she had started. The reversal of that, I contend, is putting them in an advanced ketogenic state before you ever start one of these hormones, or at the same time they start that.
Okay, this is where the gloves come off, because I finally get to mention the word keto, which is where the vegetarian kind of loses himself. Like, she's keto. She likes keto. And I stand behind the statement I just made there. Penelope was a teenager. You do not want to put these hormone hijacking drugs in a teenager, especially when you haven't used a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet will help them learn the skills, put them in an anti-inflammatory state, get the weight off, and restore the proper endocrine rise and fall that needs to be in a growing teenager. You'll never get that out of these drugs.
How long do you think it would take for being in that ketosis state? Because I was in it for a year, still had the facial hair that comes from PCOS, still had the chest hair, still had the irregular periods. So how long do I have to be in keto for the rest of my life, or?
Okay, when she said she was still in ketosis, what I would be, the first thing you would have to ask is, did you measure? You cannot be on the ketogenic diet if you say you are. You have to be measuring and proving there's ketones in the morning. When you have facial hair for a year, I guarantee you had ketones for a while and then your body re-equilibrated to a set point. And of course, requires a stimulus. You got to do this again. And I didn't get a chance to answer. I didn't get a chance to ask those questions or follow it up because everybody wants to talk about keto now.
So I put patients in a ketogenic state over a 3-week course, and then give them the GLP-1s until they get the weight off. Meaning what that GLP-1 does in a especially the combination. I only use tirzepatide. That's
what I take.
Yeah, that hormone intervention at a microscopic dose compared to the starting doses otherwise will keep them fat forward. They can stay in that ketogenic state until they get not only their brain healed, but their endocrine system healed.
Yeah, that is probably the coolest thing that I've seen over the last year is when people are in an advanced ketogenic state, and then we add a tiny bit of the tirzepatide, again, starting dose, we can help them stay in a ketogenic state. If Chanel had been in a ketogenic state and then started tirzepatide, she would be on a much lower dose and she would have reversed the PCOS. I would contend that she would have reversed more of her weight problems had she been using a ketogenic state with that tirzepatide. And you can hear her say, I'm just trying to maintain. And I'm like, girl, you still have some work to do.
Insurance companies should fully cover Ozempic for weight management.
Okay, I think it was a waste of time to put this insurance company. First of all, the people in this room and the opinions in this room would have nothing to do with changing the behavior of insurance companies. Ask me how I know. It's a massive thing. What they took out, though, was the one question that got me to LA in the first place, which was, Ozempic should be used in teenagers with obesity. And I'm like, no. And that's the one question that they left out. Again, the point that I get animated about is this is not just a addiction replacement drug where you're, giving them the nicotine replacement. You're helping them with this food addiction and then bridging them through life. No, we are hijacking hormones to shut down that food noise, to decrease those cravings, to slow down that gut motility. And they are powerful. They work really well. What we don't want is that to be the only place that you're using these hormones to reverse these medical problems. And again, we see folks really notching them up on the amount of hormone because they are ignoring their responsibility of what needs to change for them to not need this hormone replacement analog, this augmented hormone of GLP-1 and GIP for the rest of their life. And of course, you do not want to do that in a growing teenager whose endocrine system is under development for what it will be in their lifetime. And when you hijack that, you shackle them for a lifetime of this hormone replacement, of this GLP-1 GIP. And they took the damn thing out.
I don't think insurance should cover injections. I think insurance should cover healthy food. I think insurance should cover vegetables and fruit and fiber and well-raised meat, organic meat,
Okay, that's ridiculous. See, I don't know if you can see how irritated I am sitting there. Like, what do you mean insurance should cover healthy food and vegetables? Come on, you are disconnected from what is a reality here. If you liked this video, you should watch the one where I reacted to Alone. It's my favorite reality video where they starve people.